So welcome to this particular series. So in our last video, we did see how do we set up TestNG into Eclipse, and in this video, we are going to start up with the coding part for TestNG. So we'll create our first TestNG class, and we'll also be understanding what are the different annotations that are available to us in TestNG. Okay, so I'll quickly go to my Eclipse. Okay, guys, so we are here. Okay, so what have we done? I've created a simple Maven project, right? And we have a pom.xml file here in which I have the dependency for my TestNG, right? Okay, so by default you'll get the dependency for JUnit, but we do not require it, so you can just remove it and add the dependency for TestNG. Okay, let's start creating the TestNG class. I'll right click on it, new, let's say class, okay, and then you can say that okay, what should we give the name? Understanding annotations. Okay, one guys, we are creating a TestNG class. I mean, we want to work on TestNG class, right? So you don't need to check this public static void main checkbox. This is specifically for when we are running a typical Java application. Okay, right now we are working towards TestNG, so you would not need this particular checkbox checked. Okay, we won't need the main method. Okay, so leave it unchecked and say finish. Okay, okay, so here we are. As you see, okay, we have this class created. Now let me first tell you what are the different annotations available. Okay, so not the entire thing that I'll be telling you today. So today what I will be telling you is the some of the basic annotations, and the remaining ones we will keep seeing when we go through the further videos. Okay, for now let me tell you few names of the annotations. So we have got one annotation called before suite. Okay, I'll tell you its meanings and how do they run and everything. Okay, but let's understand their names first. Okay, so with before suit is paired as after suit, matching, right? Before some suite and after some suite. Okay, similarly we have before class and after class annotations. Okay, then we have before test and after test annotations. Okay, after that we have before method and obviously after method annotation with that, right? And then the most important, test annotations. Okay, please remember whenever we are talking about annotations, we always need to have at the rate there. Okay, at the rate before suite, at the rate before class. So this at the rate symbol is a symbol which signifies that okay, this particular thing is a annotation. Okay, now what do you mean by annotation in general? Okay, so in general, when I say that this is an annotation, this means that it has got some specified any functions written with this particular annotation, any functionality written with this particular annotation is going to execute in a certain way. Now, what do I mean by certain way? Which way? Okay, so the way which has been identified or which has been associated with this particular annotation. Okay, so each and every annotation has its own importance and has its own way of running, and any function that you associate with this particular annotation do undergo or do perform that rules or do run in that particular pattern only. Okay, so before and after suite. Now, suite is the combination of test cases. Okay, so say I have one test class or say I have five test class. Okay, I need to run all my test cases together. So running one test case is a running a test case, but when you run hundreds of that, or I mean anything greater than one, okay, so that becomes a suite when you are running all of them together. Okay, so if you want to run anything before or after your suites, then you go with this particular annotation. Okay, execute before or after suite. Okay, similarly we have these classes, right? So if you want to execute anything before or after class, then you go with this particular suite. Okay, now after or before test. Now here we are talking about one single class. Okay, so in one class you can have multiple test cases, right? So say I have created right now understanding annotations, and in this one you can have 10 test cases, for example. Okay, so this before test will run only once before your entire set of 10 test cases. It will run only once. Similarly, after test will run only once at the end of all your 10 test cases. Okay, so before and after entire set of test cases in a class. Okay, fine. Before method, after method. Now, you have 10 test cases. So this before method and after method will be running before and after each and every test case. Okay, before each and every test case. Okay, so before or after, depending on which annotation you have put. Do not worry, guys, if you are getting a bit confused now, we are going to see this in practical, so it will be much clearer to you. Okay, so before and after each and every test case, and a test case is a test case. Okay, so each test case is assigned with this @test annotation. Sorry. Okay, so any function associated with this particular annotation @test, that's a test case for us. Okay, and that gets executed by default. Okay, so this signifies a test case. Now one thing, guys, every other annotation except this @test, if you see all other annotation, everything depends on this particular test case. Okay, so this will run before and after test case, this will run before the entire test case, so this will run before the entire batch of test case class, right? So this test case is very important. Okay, so say you have a class where you have this annotation, this annotation, this annotation, this annotation, but you don't have this. Okay, so your class is not going to run. Okay, because these are given in assistance to this particular method. If this is not there, this doesn't, it doesn't hold any importance, right? So this test case is very important. So in order to run, your class should have at least one test case. That's mandatory. Okay, so how do we write it? Let's see them in practical now. So write @test, and then I will give my function name. So I'll say public void, what do I say? Okay, validate data. Okay, let's see, it's giving me an error. It's giving me two options, add JUnit 4 or add TestNG library. I'll be adding the TestNG library. Okay, fine. It's still giving me an error. Let's see. Okay, so it's saying me to import. Let's import it. Okay, good to go. Right. And say I'm writing something here saying validate title of the page. Okay, you can create any number of test cases in one single class. So say I have this test case, and then I'm creating another validate page logo. Okay, and then validate logo of the page. Okay, so similarly you can create any number of test cases. Okay, now guys, please make sure, like I earlier said, you do not have public static void main. That's not required. Okay, and these methods won't be static in nature. Just put @test. Do not make it static. Just write public void your function name and you're good to go. Okay, so let's try running it. Okay, So I'll right click on it. I'll go to run as, and now you see here guys, we get an option of running as TestNG test. You won't get an option of running as Java application because that is with the Java code. Okay, so you'll see an option run as TestNG test. Let's click on it. Okay, I'll open my console window. Okay guys, so you see here, right? So it has printed both the things, pass validate page logo, validate title, and that's all. Okay, so test run 2, failure 0, and you will be seeing a new tab here saying results of running your particular class. Okay, so this tab is being generated by TestNG. Okay, and here you will be seeing your function's name. Okay, your test cases names. That okay, this thing got passed and this thing also got passed. Okay, so guys, by default this will run in alphabetical order. Okay, it doesn't hold any sequence by default. If you want, we can explicitly set the sequences. We have those facilities in TestNG, but that we will be covering in the future videos, not as of now. Okay, so next, so we did see we can create any number of test cases and we had just run it. Okay, now let's implement another thing, at the rate before method public void. What should I name it? Okay, so let me name it setup method. Okay, I'll put ISO statement here also saying in before method. Okay, and similarly guys, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to set up an after method. Okay, and I'll see here tear down method and in after method. Okay, I'll also quickly import these before methods and after methods. Okay, so okay, one thing guys here before proceeding. I have written before method here and after method here because it looks good writing it in sequential order. But in interviews, if you are being asked that okay, is it mandatory if is it mandatory that I write it in this sequence? Your answer is no. Okay, you can write after method in top and before method in down. Really doesn't matter. Okay, because these functions get executed based on this annotations. Okay, so its position in your class file really doesn't matter. Okay, fine. So let me run this class again. Okay, so we see here guys, let's see the sequence. Okay, as we said, before method and after method will run before and after every test case, right? So see, validate logo got executed, but before that in before method, then the test case, then after method, again before method, then your test case, and then after method. Okay, so whatever you write in before method and after method is going to get executed before and after your each and every test case. So say you have 5 test cases, so your before method will get executed 5 times, your after method will also get executed 5 times. Okay, one more thing, please do not get confused here. The results that you see here are of your test cases. You won't get the result of your before method or after method annotations here. Okay, so these functionalities are the hidden functionalities which run in backend or in order to give assistance to your test case. Okay, the results that you would see is for the default test cases. Okay, great. So coming back here, right now let's try another annotation which is at the rate before test. Okay, so public void setup test. Okay, and similarly I'm also going to write at the rate after test, import it. Okay, my function name, let me write tear down test. Okay, and here I'll be again giving some CISO statements saying in before test, CISO in after test. Okay, so let's see the execution part. Okay, I'll run it. Okay, so let's see the logs. Okay, we see here guys, at the top we see before test executed, right? After that my before method, then my test case, then my after method, again before method, again my test case, again my after method, and at the end my after test, right? So as we talked, before test and after test gets executed once before the entire set of test cases of your particular class, right? Okay, now let's see this before class and after class annotations also. Okay, so I'll rather copy it at the rate before class setup class. Okay, and similarly I will also put at the rate after class and tear down class. Okay, along with it I'll do one more thing. Let's also put this before sweet and after sweet. Okay, before sweet and here. Let me tell you once again guys, this sequence, I mean the sequence in which you write in your test case, this is not mandatory that you have to write in this particular sequence. Any sequence you write doesn't matter, okay, because the functions get executed in accordance with this particular annotations and not in accordance with the sequence that you have written. Okay, it's just that good practice that you write it in sequential order. That's the reason I'm writing this way. Okay, so let me import everything. Okay, I'll have to change its name. So I write down suite. Okay, and in after class, in after suite. Okay, in setup suite, in setup class. Okay, and in before suite, in before class. Okay, good to go. Let's try running it now. Okay, so click on run. Okay, so before suite at the top, right? After that, we see before test once. After that, we see our before class. Correct? Okay. Now, before method, test case, after method, before method, test case, after method, and then back tracing in the same sequence. Your class, your test, and as you see, your suite haven't run. Okay, let me tell you the reason in some time. Okay, but before that, so this will be the way of your execution. At the top, your suite gets executed. After that, your test gets executed. After that, your before class gets executed. Okay, so these will be running only once before your entire set. Okay, method like before method, after method are the ones which will be running before and after your every test case, and then this after things follow the same backtrace order. Okay, now one thing that might confuse you is before class is also running only once before the entire set of these test cases as we see now. Before test is doing the same thing, before suite is doing the same thing. Okay, how does that make the difference, right? So guys, you will understand its difference when I talk about testng.xml, which I'll be talking in my next video probably. Okay, so please keep watching the channel. So I'll be answering you this that okay, how does this differ? Okay, so when we talk about testng.xml and when we see how do we execute this test cases using that XML, at that time this picture will be much more clear to you. Okay, and I would say the same answer for after suite also. Okay, even for after suite, you will get the answer when we run it through testng.xml. Okay, but in general, guys, we generally don't require these many annotations to put in test case, right? Now let's consider a Selenium example. Okay, what do? We go to our test case, say I am navigating to my Google page and I want my title and logo of google.com to be validated. Okay, so what do you do? Maybe I want to open my Chrome browser. I want to set up my Chrome only once. Okay, before my entire test case. Okay, so I'll be putting that in probably my before test, or I can put it in my before class. Okay, so I can put it in this particular before class method, and my like my Chrome browser would launch only once, right? I don't want it to launch for every particular test case, right? And then I can just write validate title and validate page logo function. Similarly, say you have some applications, some e-commerce sites, say you have Amazon. Okay, so what you want to do? You want to launch your Chrome browser once. Okay, you want to log in. You want to perform some operation after logging in, and then you want to log out. You want to log in again, perform your second test case, and then log out again and proceed similarly. At the end, you just want to like shut down your browser. Okay, so you can write the code to launch Chrome here, correct? Then here, or you can also write it in before test. Okay, so you want to log in and log out before and after every test case, right? So you can write the code to log in to your e-commerce site here. Okay, you put your test cases here, correct? In your after method, you write the code to log out. So what will happen? Your Chrome will launch only once. You log into the application, you will perform your test case, you will log out, you may log into your application again, perform your second test case, and then log out again. And then here at the end, like in the after test, what we can do is I can shut down or quit my browser. Okay, guys, so here like our code will always get executed in this particular sequence. Okay, so that's all for this video about the annotation side. Apart from this, one thing that I would like to tell you more is just press refresh or F5 in your project window. Okay, so you see this folder here generated. This is the test output folder. Okay, so TestNG has its default reporting mechanism. So even if you do not want to to integrate some external reporting tool, TestNG do give you default reporting. Okay, so just expand it. You'll be seeing a file called index.html here. Okay, so let me open it. Okay, so you see here guys, I've got my reports launched in my browser, right? Here you'll see how many methods passed, what failed. You'd see your test cases. Green indicates that it passed. And also like here in the chronological view, you'll be seeing the functions which got executed sequentially. Okay, so you see here setup method, then the test case, then the tear down, again a method, again the test case and tear down, and entire sequence which we discussed. Right? So that's all for this video, guys. Hope we have been able to understand the annotations, the sequencing in which they run, and the default reporting for this particular TestNG. Okay, so in next video we will be learning about suite and about the test, like how to run the multiple test cases together as a suite. Okay, do let me know for any questions in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.